Yeah.
It's
Okay.
time, guys. Here
Yeah.
we go. It's the AGDQ hype episode of the final split. Hope you like what we did with the place. We tidied up a little bit and moved some little feng shui, moved some things around. So hope you like it. Our guests this week, we've got quite the star-studded lineup. Returning for the umpteenth time in the red box. You wanted me to say, I know where you were going, but hold on. Hold that thought. As always, in the red box there, we've got Spike Vegeta. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. What if I'm the guest that just doesn't go away? Like, he's not a regular,
Right,
but...
we just kind of wanted to put you under the carpet, but you're not...
Every week we've asked everyone, please, anybody.
Yeah, what can we do?
No, I'm doing good. My plane takes off in 12 hours for DC, so I'm super pumped. I can't wait to be at AGDQ, meet up with a lot of my good friends that I already know, like, people in all these boxes all around me, wherever they are. Yeah, I get to meet up with people that I only know over the internet. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And AGDQ, always a pleasure.
It's good to know you're going to be there tomorrow, too, because I'm actually getting there in the evening. So
now, are you staying with a friend? Or
hang on. We might need to plan that after the show. Yeah, I still need a place tomorrow night. So.
Oh, okay.
Just throwing that out there. But anyway, we'll worry about that later.
Okay.
More importantly, we've got some very special guests with us this week in the green box, making his return to the green box. Welcome back, Sinister One. Good to have you back.
I'm back.
He's back.
Yes.
I'm excited. How are you doing?
I'm awesome. I'm so glad to be back. It's been too long, and it's fun to be back on the show. Excited.
And I see you've been getting in some streaming too the last couple of days.
Yeah, a little bit. You got to practice for AGDQ, otherwise they kick you out of the lineup.
That's right.
Nobody's exempt. They're like, listen, you're not too big time. That blindfolded thing, we'll kick you right out of the lineup. You better practice.
Hey, they proved it this year.
That's right.
I'm about to say.
And I didn't mean to make you turn off the game. You could keep playing if you wanted to, Duckfist. But we've got
I might
joining
turn
us. There you go. How's it going?
It's doing pretty good, man. I'm just enjoying the holidays. This is my last day off, then I go back to work, and then I fly out to DC. So that's gonna be pretty sweet.
So excited! Can't believe it's already this weekend. We're gonna be some people already there. Actually, saw some live tweets from the Aussies.
So Astrius was already there.
Quite the epic journey. And actually, I'm staying up tonight to get the boarding passes to the Japanese runners. So they will be embarking on I think 13-hour flight as well. So some long flights there, but. Yeah, lots of excitement, and I guess we'll go ahead and get right into it. We've got a lot of topics planned for today's show, and it starts off with Tropical Freeze is kind of our kick-started game here. What am I looking for? We're the game that kicks off the marathon.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what? We're not kick-starting it. We're not funding the game. Batting first, if you will, we've got Tropical Freeze kicking off AGDQ, and that's noon Eastern on January 4th is the official start of the marathon. So we've talked about this a few times, but Tropical Freeze, thoughts on it being the opening game? What can we expect?
I know Spike's going to jump in, but I'll just say I think it's a great choice. I mean, it's people have been wanting these new games, even though they kind of just come out. Oftentimes, we'll get them skipped over. I think it was like Super Mario 3D World was skipped over last SGDQ or something, or stuff like that has happened before. So it's pretty cool to see a new game not only in the schedule, but to kind of start us off and get people all hyped up. I think it was a great choice.
Yeah, I think it's good from a couple of standpoints. Like Duckfist is saying, it's the new game. It's what people have played it this year, and it is such a good game for speedrunning that Retro essentially designed the game around speedrunning. And on top of that, it's not like, some of these other newer speed games that they're hot for, a minute and then, no one's playing it for a while. That's not the case here. It's been a dedicated community for months. We have put tons and tons of work into this. You got the world record holder coming down, and not a nicer person in the world than Michael Goldfish. He's going to put on a hell of a show for you guys, and we are going to bring the fun. We're going to bring the hype on the couch with the opening drop.
Going to set the tone with that first run. I mean, it does seem like an important thing for the first run to really stand out from other marathons and kind of say this is something different. So I think Tropical Freeze will do that. That should be good. And later that same day, actually, we move into our next topic, which is Diddy Kong Racing. There we go. It's loading. It's trying. Diddy Kong Racing. Three-way race, actually. Ox was Tofool and Joe D'Amelio. That's a little bit later that evening, 4:55 p.m. Eastern. Any thoughts on the Diddy Kong Racing race? It's going to be kind of our first glimpse at Team Japan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's also the first race of the marathon. Yeah, it's the first race.
So yeah.
I think it'd be really. I think it'd be really good. Everybody knows Tofool for it. He played it at SGDQ 2013, right? I think 2013.
Yeah, you're right. Mm.
Yep. And I don't think we've seen it since.
Yeah, kicking off. First one's going to be a three-way race, so already they're not. We're not slowly dipping our toes into the water. This is right off the bat. Like you said, you got a couple storylines there. You got Tofool returning, defending his title against Japan, and more of America. Joe's American, right? I don't know. We'll go with that. Sure.
I don't know.
There you go.
I haven't. You can tell how much background research I've got.
I have to admit, I'm kind of surprised to see Joe in this race. I mean, he's known obviously for Castlevania 4, and he's just constantly grinding that every time I watch his stream. I don't know if I've ever even seen him play this game. So I'm very curious to see how he's going to do, and I wouldn't be surprised if he just kind of comes out of nowhere and shocks people, and they're like, whoa, what?
Yeah, and I mean, this is one of those cases where he is kind of that X Factor third, where I feel like a lot of people going into it are going to say, oh, Tofool's known for this game, or Oxus is really good at this game, and Joe himself he's put a lot of time into that game as well, but definitely comes off to me as the underdog or the less talked about of the three, and I think he's going to surprise people in that race too.
I want to see the Japanese runners too. I have a feeling that like the Japanese runners are taking this seriously. I don't know why, but I just have this feeling they're just going to come here and they're just going to kill everyone.
Yeah. Here's the other thing to think about too. I mean, aside from it being kind of like the debut of the Japanese scene at the GDQs, this is right away on day one. We're talking about some serious jet lag. I don't know. I've never heard that as a factor for people, but or an excuse, but that's a potential weakness from Oxus's perspective, is he's got to deal with that jet lag right away.
Because they're coming in on a Sunday, I guess, Sunday afternoon.
They'll be here. They'll be here on setup day in the afternoon.
Saturday.
So,
okay.
Yeah, they'll be there one day before that race goes down. But yeah, so those are kind of the Sunday events of note, and then we move into a Monday that is essentially a lot of different blocks. Looks like we've got a Genesis block, an F-Zero block, PC shooters, Sonic the Hedgehog, indie games. Can you guys give me maybe one or two blocks here that you want to highlight and what you think is worth pointing out on Monday?
I like me some Sega.
Yeah, I'm about to say. I know.
Were you going to say Sega?
Yeah, Citizens right there. This is
like...
one of the best blocks of the marathon. No, there's so many good games here. Yeah, I know you're right there. Yeah, all these Sega games are some of my favorites. World of Illusion, Rocket Knight Adventure, Sparkster. Shoutouts to Mike and the crew for putting both Rocket Knight Adventures and Sparkster in. Everyone talked about, oh, we probably can't have both. Well, no offense to Mega Man. I love Mega Man. We can have 18 of those, but we can't have Rocket Knight games. These are great games. The Return of Rystar by Breakdown. You got Streets of Rage 2, Gunstar Heroes, like that.
Gunstar Heroes miniature treasure block right there. That'll be really cool, man.
Yeah.
And I guess there's also some F-Zero games later that afternoon, and F-Zero just went so well last AGDQ. People were really hyped up about that.
That's maybe a question that I have too. Is do you guys think the F-Zero block this time around, having more games and coming off of that big F-Zero block with CGN and all of that. Is this going to live up to that hype, or is it going to overstay its welcome? What do you think about this F-Zero block? I know we've talked about it a few times, but
I hate to say it, but just in general, it's going to be hard to live up to AGDQ 2014.
It will be
in a lot of different realms. So this isn't going to be any different. But that doesn't mean it can't still be very awesome and enjoyable, and I'm sure it will be. So just what it is. Don't compare.
I also can't be 100% confident about it. I mean, I want it to be really good, but I know that this will make or break, I guess, the future of F-Zero blocks at GDQs. I feel like.
It's, hey, Mike took you can say a risk. He really almost, I felt like, rewarded F-Zero for how successful it was last year. And maybe this leads to, more F-Zero in the future. I'm sort of leaning with Sinister on this one and Duckfist that this is probably going to show, okay, maybe it was a little more the category, CGN, no offense to Z-Wing doing GX or any of the other runners, but quite frankly, it is impossible to hold up to what last year's show was for GX story mode. But we'll see. There's still some of the best speed games in the marathon.
Yeah, I guess it's interesting to me because I think you could replace F-Zero with any of the kart racers here, and you could still argue that the block might be too long. I don't think it's specific to F-Zero to have 4 of them back to back like that. But I do like that they're splitting it up and trying different things. Doing the staff ghosts, doing a race with one of the F-Zeros there. So. I like that they're trying to incorporate some variety there and not have just kind of the same formula all the way through. And in addition, we've got during that, right before the F-Zero block, we've got the first of 2 Sonic blocks. We got some, it looks like Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, Generations, and then the Heroes Bid War, which I guess I'm curious to see if people will get behind. It's a cool idea for the 4 of them to kind of compete with each other because they're all good friends. They all like this, the game. They kind of use it as a way to hang out with each other and practice the same game, just different ways. So each one of them representing a different team in Sonic Heroes, Burton, Shadow Jackie, Worcester, DSS, but only the team that gets the most money, I believe, is going to be the one that gets to play. So it'll be interesting to see if people donate for that and get behind that. What do you guys think? Is that something that'll generate some hype there? Are people going to vote for their favorite team or streamer there?
I think it's more so streamer than it is run, honestly. I think to a lot of people, they're just going to say, I don't know. It's a 3D Sonic. I honestly don't think they have that much nostalgia behind them, but, these aren't necessarily... Like, if these were 4, I hate to say it, like, relatively unknown runners, I don't think this would have been an AGDQ. But you got Worcester in there, you got DSS... DSS coming off of, especially all the Sonic Boom knowledge that he has brought to the world. Probably would have been found in anyways, but I think that'll generate some money. I don't think it's the biggest one of the marathon. That's why it's being held on Monday and not Saturday. But yeah, it'll be fun. Sonic Heroes, from what a lot of people tell me, is maybe the best 3D Sonic speedrun. So either way, it'll be fun. So we'll see what happens.
And so kind of wrapping up that day, we've got a pretty big PC block. And it's worthy of note that I will say I like that they're grouping PC games together, not necessarily because, it creates a block then, but I think it will eliminate some of the setup hassle that we've had in the past where you're going PC to console, back to PC, back to console, and there's kind of this shuffling of, all the components of the stream. So it'll be good to see. That'll be kind of the first big test of PC at the event. We'll see how it holds up.
Without a doubt. The only thing I'll say there, a little storyline, is this is either the day where we get an hour behind or maybe like 2 hours ahead, because they've said it themselves that they feel a lot more confident in their PC setup. It's interesting that they would have this huge block. It's like 15 out of 16 games are PC games. Is this good to have this early in the marathon where all the other games in the marathon could be thrown off schedule a little bit? We'll see. But
yeah, I mean, I don't see any explicit like setup blocks before, during, or after this huge PC gauntlet. So hopefully, the PC games have been at GDQs for years now. Hopefully the tech crew is, on it, But you're right. I mean, if there are any slip-ups, then there is the potential for some kind of, delays. So I don't know. Hopefully it goes really well.
Yeah, and
I think this is the year it goes well. I'm calling it now.
We got positive.
Yeah, and I think they've got the cards are in your hand, I guess, or the pieces are in the right place for this to go right, because they are, you know, taking that precaution of let's group all the PC games together. That way we can kind of be in that mode or in that troubleshooting zone for that block specifically. And there are a couple different PC blocks. This isn't the only one in the marathon, but it is kind of that first test. And not only for the tech side of things, but also maybe the viewership might get tested here as we move into a pretty extensive indie block at the end of the PC section as well. Looks like we've got a Scapegoat 2, which is big on SRL, but I kind of wonder if there's a huge following for games like that. Shantae, I know, again, that's a popular one that speedrunners enjoy, but I'm curious what the reception is just from the viewing audience in general.
A whole bunch of, all sorts of indie games. It's traditional to play, tons of indie games at AGDQs, and I think they often go really well. Like a Scapegoat, a lot of these you don't really need to know a whole lot about the game to be able to watch and enjoy the speedrun.
Yeah, and is it safe to say that this GDQ is placing the emphasis on indie games? It seems like there are quite a few, not just in this section, but kind of scattered throughout.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of this is also, we are talking about prime time right here, perspective within a Deep Forest Shantae. They weren't just trying to tuck them away at 4 a.m. They're legitimately giving a slot to these. So, again, I think that's cool.
Shout out to Indie.
Yeah. I like to see Mike and the crew, because I think, Indie, I know it makes it sound like, well, nobody's played them. Like, it's got a bigger audience than people like to think. We are talking about a PC audience, I think, more generally when we look at the GDQ audience. So I think it's cool to kind of take a chance and just throw a primetime slot out of your 7 or 8 that you have throughout the marathon to one group of these.
Absolutely,
and it's good games in the group. These are, I think, stuff like Perspective, Shantae, Scapegoat. I think those are going to be fun for the audience to watch.
I would add in, too, that I think the success of these indie blocks kind of stems from the other features of the run outside of the run itself. It's the developer commentary being included a lot of times with the Skype calls, things like that.
Sure.
Runner commentary, I think, is extra important there as well. But yeah, it'll be an interesting PC wrap up to Monday and kind of a lead into Tuesday, which is our day at the races, I guess you could say. It is just a jam-packed day full of I can't even list them all. I tried to list them all in this box here, and they're not going to fit. So I just put some of the big ones, Contra kind of being the first of these runs. It's happening pretty early in the morning, though. Sinister One.
I need to talk about Contra real quick.
Right.
Okay, this is going to be a big time race, and let me tell you why. Not just because it's 2 top runners and that it's a very good game, classic game. It's never been raced at a marathon before, but I would say that there's a bit of a rivalry between DK28 and the Mexican runner.
Yeah, there is.
It's and some rivalries are friendly and some rivalries are less friendly. So I think that these guys are very cordial to each other and all of that, but I think that they both really want to beat the other one. Like, both of them are going into this with the mentality like, I want to kick his ass. So I'm like really interested to see. I think this is going to be a serious race, like probably the most serious race of the marathon.
Wow.
This is one of those games too it's going to, you get the sense it's going to be decided by frames. Like, it's going to, they're going to be on the last stage and everyone's going to be silent. Like, we can't.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a lot of talking during this race. I think it's going to be really serious time, and watch it probably not be, and they're going to be like joking around, and I'm going to look like a total idiot. I have this vision that
the audience is only going to hear mashing for 10 minutes.
Looking at each other between stages, like
yeah, the glare. You give them the glare. That's right.
Is this the Batman SGDQ 2013 of this marathon?
Oh,
are you seeing that? Are you seeing that kind of run where it's just someone's going to talk at the 6.5 minute mark and go,
yeah, and everybody's going to go, shut up.
You can't. They're going to have the golf guys, on the sidelines with their like quiet please little, popsicle sticks or whatever.
Just for a little background of what I'm talking about, these guys did go back and forth on the record, and there were some issues with it and everything like that. Ultimately, DK came out on top, and the Mexican runner is close behind. It's not like it was a blowout or anything, but there were definitely some questions about some macros being used at some point. Some things that had come up.
The kind of thing that you want to settle with a live race, I think.
It was, yes. There was, I believe TMR was playing on emulator at one point, and that kind caused some controversy. He switched to console. He was like, "Look, we're just going to squash this controversy right now, and I'm going to show you guys what's up." And he did. He did. But like I said, ultimately the back and forth DK ended up on top. So,
and then
I'm going to play the optimist on this one actually, because I think it's going to be a tie with a 10-10. A 10-10 tie, and then they're both going to stand up and do like I think the characters' names in the game are Ace and Bill. They're going to do like an Ace and Bill like bro hug and then like military salute. That's the ideal finisher.
That's how it ends.
Sinister wants a brawl.
I was going to say I feel like
throw down.
I feel like hug is used metaphorically there, or figuratively. It's up for interpretation. We'll see.
Like, let me be clear. I don't want that. I like both of these guys. I like very much. I'm close with both of these runners, and I wish them both the best of luck. I think it's going to be very competitive. Some races are more competitive.
Well, and no, this is interesting because it is kind of early in the morning, but I do feel like that tension is going to be there, and it's not often, at least in past GDQ's experience, where it maintains that crowd or that atmosphere of really tense competition early in the morning. It tends to be more those late night races are the ones where everybody's around, they just had their food, so they're piling in for that. I'm curious to see what the live reaction will be for Contra, what the attendance will be for that.
Well, it's funny because honestly, Contra's never really done, as a series, has never done that well in GDQs. Yet it keeps coming back, and I think this was kind of the last straw. Mike was like, "Okay, if you guys do a race, I'll let it in, but otherwise, we're not doing Contra anymore."
God, that's so sad.
So aside from that, there, Contra actually kind of leading into an NES block, and then. Not to skip over it, I'm sure there's some games we'll talk about later on there, but just to highlight some of the other races on Tuesday, it looks like we've got Castlevania 3, Castlevania 4, both of those pretty big races, and back-to-back too.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. I mean, we have Ohan flying in from Japan. This will be I guess this is his first game. He's solely in races, and he'll be fighting K-Mac and JC583. I mean, these guys are top players of Castlevania 3. And, this is kind of a longer platformer, and mistakes in this game cost you huge chunks of time. So, there's potentials for blowouts. It's going to be pretty intense.
It's definitely one of those, you rehearse your whole life for the one run, and if something goes wrong, that's it. Yeah, nice. Thanks for playing. That's why we got 3 of you. Somebody's going to do it all right.
Mm-hmm.
And the hype around Castlevania 4, I think that goes without saying. I mean, everybody has been seeing these players, stream this game constantly for the past 2 or 3 months, straight. They've been doing nothing but grinding this game. Everybody's been PBing like crazy. The world record's been pushed down, swapped back and forth. That'll be really cool to see, all of this hard work put into action.
I'm really curious about this because I haven't been paying close enough attention, but from what the schedule says, it says that it's going to be Furious Paul, Joe D'Amelio, Hanage, and then someone else. But then I've also heard that it's going to be the top 4, which currently would exclude Hanage. So what's actually going to happen there?
Yeah, the interpretation.
Mexican runner jumped him.
Yeah, the interpretation that I heard was that Just Defend and TMR were being considered for that. Yeah, they were considering for that 4th slot, and I guess the interpretation. I don't know if this is official or not, but TMR has other runs in the marathon, whereas Just Defend, that would be. I think that's his only game if he gets it in. So the last that I heard was that there might be a leaning towards Just Defend, but I don't actually know that any of that's confirmed or a rumor or just people talking about it. So I don't know.
So this is like a political thing. We're not going with who's got the better PB.
I'm not sure. It's
Hanage and Furious Paul. I don't think they have any other games as well.
I sense some controversy.
We'll see.
Okay, so here's my question. I brought this up a lot. Are PBs alone the best way to decide who because this is not the last time there's going to be battles over not just who's the number 1 runner, but who are the 4 runners who get into these. There's going to be a lot more of these potential 4-way races in the future. Is PB how we want to decide these?
Look, I've
it
said
might
it
be
before.
the only way to decide at the point, but I will want to just kind of lay out that PB doesn't necessarily say one runner is better than or more qualified than another runner to play at a marathon.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for consistency as well. You might not have that PB, but if you can consistently put out a time that's competitive, a race is a one-shot deal. So I I don't know. Sinister One, you seem to.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I'm right. I'm right along with you guys. PB obviously isn't the end all be all, but the main thing I wanted to say, and we've discussed it many times before, is just we need a consistent way of choosing these competitors for races instead of just like, oh, we'll just figure it out, because that
it's January 1st,
and we still don't know. Yeah, it really does feel like there should have been kind of like a lay down the law at some point. This person is definitely, and rather than kind of waiting just up till the minute, because I mean we could have somebody PB in the practice room, and then what?
Right. Yeah, then what do you do? Then you're like, oh, okay, here we go.
Get out of the chair. Someone's
minutes before.
running in right before. I did it. I have the splits.
Yeah, and the other thing to note too, I mean, obviously to your point that TMR kind of jumped into the top 4 there. Hanage is flying across the globe for this too, so it would be really tough, I think, to turn him down if he lands.
And that's the point. Is if I'm not saying Hanage 100% deserved to be in the race, but if he wasn't going to be, you probably had to decide that a while ago.
Yeah.
So I'm still gonna say for the future, I won't go off on this, but playoffs. We need playoffs. Playoffs.
Yeah. That's in the right direction. Yeah. I'll get that.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing too is if you've got something to prove in one of these races, then what better time for you to step up and play exceptionally well too. So if it is the case that hey, I'm in and I'm technically number 5 seed, or I'm not supposed to be in this race, well, all you got to do is win it to shut everybody up. So I guess we'll see. But right after those Castlevania races, we go into Donkey Kong Country 2, which again, between that and Super Castlevania 4, if you're not excited about that back-to-back 4-way races.
Then most packed
the room is gonna be.
Yeah,
this is everyone is okay.
Are we in agreement on that? Is Tuesday afternoon? I believe it's afternoon. Tuesday afternoon, is that when the room is going to be most packed? It's not the finale day. It's going to be everybody's there for DKC 2. Everybody's there for Castle 4. Is that the
okay? Here's my question. To know that Duckfist, you are following those 2 races. Are you going to be practicing or in there for those 2 races?
I'm going to be in there watching the races, dude. Hell yeah.
There is exactly. That's the end of the argument right there. This is, there are probably, I know we're coming up on a day that's like a block of a ton of games that people want to watch, but particularly Super Castlevania 4, Donkey Kong Country 2, these 2 games, DKC 2 for a while, but Super Castlevania 4, it feels like 2014 was its year. And so you've got all these top-level runners coming. These are great speed games, SNES games. People have nostalgia for them. Short, good watches. Room is going to be packed. This is the Super Metroid of this year.
And okay, one question we had while we were talking about this too is that is it fair to you, Duckfist, and I guess Infested Reach too, to have to follow up some of these big races? Do you feel like, hey, wait a minute, what about, should I have been somewhere else, or are you okay with that? Do you think it's?
I mean, I'm okay with it, but I'll function, if that's kind of what I mean. But I'm also, I don't really necessarily agree with it. I don't really think Battle Kid as a race can stand up to like Super Castlevania 4 and Donkey Kong Country 2, and like with the reputation those games have and the reputation that the runners have. I don't know. I feel that if anything, Battle Kid is kind of on that more downward slope. Clearly the peak is somewhere in between Super Castlevania 4 and Donkey Kong Country 2.
Sure.
In my opinion, but
regardless, it's a almost like 2.5 hour block of races, not back to back. So
4 straight races we've got there. Wow.
And then leading into that night, actually, the races continue. We've got kind of the NES Zelda block, and then the first of many Mario blocks. But the highlight races there: Zelda 1, Lack Attack, and Darkwing Duck.
Yeah, those guys are really close in skill. That'll be a very, very good race. They're both
that'll be
extremely good at that game.
It's another one of those, right? Go ahead. Sorry. I
was going to say, as a bit of trivia, I think the last time we had a Zelda race was AGDQ 2013. I want to say
2012 breakdown versus J Profit.
Yep, that's right.
Wow. And you've got the 2 best players in the world here. And one of those that people might not have as much nostalgia for Zelda 1 as maybe a lot of the rest of us do, but I think this is another one that the room will be packed for.
Yeah, I almost feel like Zelda 1 operates better when it's a race than when it's a solo run, because it is the game that brings back a lot of nostalgia for people. It's not the most popular Zelda as far as what people watch, but the way you make it exciting, you put two people against each other in a game that has its give and take. So there will be back and forth. It will be entertaining to watch. Both these guys very good at the game. Obviously played it many times before, so should be fun. And then we've got the Mario World and Kaizo Mario World races. It looks like we're gonna have a 4-way any percent race for Super Mario World. What are we expecting there? It's gonna be wild. I think it's gonna be decided in the first few seconds as well.
It's gonna be the most beautiful train wreck of the marathon, and I don't mean that as a bad thing. I almost feel like Mike and the crew accepted this as maybe this will be terrible, but it's 10 minutes. Let's see what they can do. Maybe some of them will get Cloud. I know a lot of them have said they're very consistent at it, but I think it's something to have fun with. People have a lot of nostalgia, obviously, for Super Mario World, and everything else is going to be a 4-way race. Why not this one? So it'll be hype because you really feel a lot of the other races. You kind of have an idea of, all right, well, this is the top player. This is the fourth guy. This is the third. This is where who knows? It doesn't matter who's got the best time. We're talking about frames here.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting that it will be determined pretty much within the first 20 seconds because it's in Yoshi's Island 2 that they do the Cloud glitch. And from what I understand, Cloud is a little bit more consistent than Orb, so we might see all the runners get it.
And that's kind of the impression I get of this is, the reason they went with 4-way race here, and not necessarily because they've got 4 people who are really close in any percent, but just the idea that if one of them hits the trick, then we get to showcase the trick, and that's cool. If 2 of them hit the trick, we've got a race.
Yep.
Right.
That's all you need. That's all you need, and
So-
that's very
I can see that reasoning. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, and so I'm curious. It'll be exciting if more than 2 of them hit it for sure. But chat's going crazy with the orb now, so that's good. Kaizo Mario to follow that up as well. Dram and Carl.
I think that's going to be the kind of race where you can have a lot of back and forth because they're going to die, and it's like both die.
It is not a forgiving game, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that's like I've actually been in a race where there was a lot of deaths, and I think there were like 5 lead changes, and it was awesome because it's like you don't know what's going to happen. So that one's really exciting for me. It could be a total blowout, but it could also just be like 5 lead changes, and you never know what's going to happen next.
Yeah,
it's such a famous internet game, I think, in a lot of ways. So people are going to be blown away with the fact that they can even play the video game, I think, to one extent. And, of course, it's Carl and Dram. It's 2 of the most respected, well put together members of the community, I would say. Yeah. That'll definitely be a fun race.
I mean, they're just so relaxed and they're so hilarious and fun and just friendly to watch, Right. And they're going to make the atmosphere is just going to be just super happy and awesome. Every time somebody dies, it's going to be hilarious.
It's one of those races where they're not going to be upset when they make mistakes. They're going to expect them, laugh them off. And it's not going to be about who wins or loses. It's going to be everybody's just going to be having a good time there. So that's a good cap to the many races on Tuesday, but let's go ahead and keep going here, or we're going to get stuck on Tuesday forever.
Good. This weekday.
Moving into Wednesday, Spike Vegeta has a opinion about Wednesday. What did you call Wednesday when we were talking the other day?
Oh yeah,
what's
Wednesday. This is your risk day. This is high risk day.
And why is that?
Well, you're starting off like, and not particularly, you've got kind of your horror block, but then you go into 4 straight rogue style games, right? I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the next answer, but you got Rogue Legacy, Binding Isaac, and Risk of Rain. Have people actually finished any of these rogue games of the marathon? And the responses have generally been pretty poor when they don't actually finish. I'm sure they got some of the top runners in the world, but you're taking a risk, not knowing, are any of these going to finish? Are they all going to finish? Will they go over? Who knows? And then you go into, and I love them to death, but you've got a bunch of beat 'em ups in a row. And for a lot of people for a long time, if it wasn't Turtles in Time, you couldn't have beat 'em ups in there. And Mike Uyama said it himself. He was like, maybe we'll have a beat 'em up. Bam, a block. It gets a block. Violent Storm, Battletoads Arcade, and Alien vs. Predator. Is as much tech as these games might have to it. Is it techie to the common eye, to someone who's watching? And you finally ended off with, is this a speedrun? As cool as this is going to be, Tetris the Grandmaster Edition, is this a speedrun that we're actually watching? So a big chunk of, in my opinion, risks, and I wonder how the audience is going to respond to them.
Well, first, I just kind of want to maybe do a small correction or, I guess, addendum. It's not necessarily just a beat 'em up block. It's also kind of an arcade block. We haven't really had any pure arcade games here. I mean, these guys are going to, I think there's going to be a super gun there, you know, so it'll be real arcade boards being played. So I think that's kind of a cool change. Might be breaking a new ground for speedrunning arcade games. Might just let people know, hey, this is a thing, you know, you can speedrun arcade games. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I just kind of echoing your point on Tetris the Grandmaster. I mean, it's going to be interesting what the response is, just from the audience perspective. You know, you're kind of led along. You know, these are speed runs, and to be fair, you know, not everything that we do in these marathons are speed runs necessarily. You know, you get your runs where they'll watch the cutscenes. You know, those get donated for. You know, so it's not necessarily always about the lowest time, or you know, that's the only purpose of the marathon. It is about, to an extent, I would say, you know, high quality gameplay. And I think what I'm hoping for from Tetris is that they put enough variety into what they're going to showcase. You know, I'm curious, what is the presentation going to be? Is it going to be, you know, one guy sits there and plays Tetris for an hour really well? Is it going to be one guy plays for 5 minutes, then switches to some other mode and demonstrates some other top level? You know, how are we going to mix up what's there to keep it entertaining? Because, you know, we've done puzzle games in the past. You know, there's been, you know, your Tetris Attacks, your Dr. Mario. Dr. Mario is an example of one where I would say, you know, unless it's a race, I don't know that there's a lot there to keep people interested. So yeah, I think Tetris has a question mark on it. You know, it's up to the presenters of that to really knock it out of the park. And I do think that it's really interesting at a high level to see people play Tetris so well. So I'm curious what they will do with that. It's interesting to me.
I just want to throw something out there. You know, I may be totally off base on this, but I remember hearing at some point that Wednesday was kind of like there was like a kind of a lull in a lot of the marathons. Like, you know, the donations would kind of dip during that time, around that midweek time. Things kind of slow down. So maybe, Spike, to your point about, you know, why are they taking these risks or doing this or that on a Wednesday? That might be why. That might have been the reason behind it.
Well, it's gonna suck anyway. So no.
I mean, not necessarily that, but it's like if you're gonna take risks, that's a good time to do it, because it's like if you just stick with the format, like, hey, this is what
Wednesday
we've done.
Wasn't working
Wednesday,
to begin
then
with. Yeah,
it'd be the same. So it's like, hey, let's throw some stuff in there that's a little bit off base, and let's see what happens.
And to be fair, you know, for as much as you want to call that the risky block in the morning, I do think the evening is much more of a safe bet, a safe play on Wednesday. You've got, again, Sonic Block Part 2 with arguably what's going to be the run that people are looking the most forward to, Sonic 3 and Knuckles. A lot of people saying that's going to be some of the top gameplay. HDL kind
top
of
top 5 run of the marathon.
Yeah.
Top 5 run of the marathon right there.
And you know, after the Sonic block, of course, we go into I guess platformers is how I put it. We'll get to Mega Man in just a minute. Don't bring up Mega Man just yet, but kind of it's almost like the speedrunners platformers. You know, it's Mischief Makers, it's Kirby Superstar, it's games that, again, the community is really passionate about, and the question is, you know, will they translate well to the home audience? I wasn't expecting an answer for that. I was just, you know.
Oh, sure. I don't know. I think people love games like Mischief Makers and Kirby Superstar. I think people are going to be all over those. I know Jackfer got a great response for Mischief Makers at SGDQ. I know Countdown got a great response for Kirby Superstar. To see them both back, I'm glad. You know, they could have said no to both of these since we just did them. I'm glad they're both back. They're such inherently loved speed games in the community, and people like them as well. You know, they're on Nintendo systems, and they got good time slots as well. So I think that's great. Duckfist, tell us a little bit about Shovel Knight and if it's going to be, in your opinion, a success or not.
I think it'll definitely be a success. I mean, Captain Drake is really good. He's been at the top of the game since it came out, pretty much. I mean, this is another one of those kind of, you know, newer games. This game came out during SGDQ last year, or this year. Last year now. Yeah, last year.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're getting used to it.
So, I mean, it would be what previous marathons would have considered to be like a gamble, you know, but it really has been developed quite a bit. You know, he's got this game down. It's a really appealing game. It fits right in with this. It fits right in this block perfectly. You know, right before the Mega Man games, right after the speedrunners platformer games, as he put it. You know, I think it'll be really good.
No, I think that what I really like about them, including Shovel Knight, I mean, obviously, it was kind of a guarantee this is getting in. It's very much so the DuckTales remastered of AGDQ. I just like that they are going for those new games right away and not being afraid to say that it needs to mature, to a certain extent before we'll consider it. I like that they put enough faith in the runners in the community to be able to get it into the marathon. And Captain Drake, mystery tournament, really strong player there as well. So going into it, even if he didn't have experience with the game, he was going to be naturally good at it, and lo and behold, stuck with it. So I think he'll do great there. And again,
just a little bit of commentary on it as well, that it's cool that this is just a solo run. I'm actually pretty grateful for that. I think this game kind of deserves it like a solo showing rather than just throwing a race right at it right off the bat. So many people offered this game as well. I think that was a pretty good decision.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been very easy to assign a race to it just based on number of people who offered it. But
I agree with that. And as someone who's part of the Tropical Freeze community, I felt the same way about Tropical Freeze, that, you know what, it's good that this is one game, it's its first showing, it's the newer game. Let's try to make the audience just focus on it's not just, okay, yeah, everyone's running this, anybody can get into it. It's, let's look at the tech, like all the minute little things that you would have missed if it were a race, if there were 2, 3, 4, 8 screens up with different people running it. So yeah, definitely agree. I'm glad it's Shovel Knight, and big shout outs to Captain Drake. It's really cool that mystery tournament winner, blind tournament, he gets to be showcased like that.
Yeah. Should be a lot of fun. And then moving, like you said, moving from Shovel Knight into the arguably one of the longest blocks of the marathon. It is the Mega Man block. And we've got it all there, classic Mega Mans and the X block. We'll approach it this way. Give me a Mega Man run that will be the standout run, or what's one run that we should be looking for, and what's your reasoning behind it? What do you think? There are a lot of them there, so feel free to take turns.
Mega Man 5, I think, will be the one I'm definitely most looking forward to the most. Just these runners are amazing, and I'm biased towards anything Ohan plays, of course. And this is also the first time we'll see races at Classic Mega Man at a GDQ. I think in every previous SGDQ and AGDQ, it's always been solo runs. I mean, we saw a big Mega Man race at last ESA, but we've never had one here over at the GDQs. So, and here we are having both Mega Man and Mega Man 5, a game whose first showing was last SGDQ by the Darkman. And we'll also get to see BJW and Ohan. I mean, these are the 3 top players of the game. And I think it'll be a really great race.
No, what I like about MM5 being included for a second time is that you have that familiarity. If you watched SGDQ, you're familiar with Darkman, and you know how he plays the game, and just his lightheartedness and approach to it. But you're also getting Ohan and BJW, the other 2 top players of the game. And I guess the question is, we've seen in some of these Mega Man relays, we've seen Ohan is human. He makes mistakes. People don't like to say that about Ohan. He's very much the kind of person who could, get a world record whenever he feels like it, but we've seen him struggle a little bit in Starman stage especially, and that's right off the bat. And if you're in a marathon setting and you make a mistake in your first 30 seconds, that's psychologically going to throw you off so much, and that could open the gates for BJW or Darkman to slip right in there. So any other Mega Mans that you guys are excited about, or if you have any other final thoughts on
MM5. Mega Man 5, definitely. That's going to be very, very hype. I probably agree with Duckfist, but if I had to choose another one, I mean, it's kind of hard to go wrong with the Mega Man X 100% race because, obviously everybody knows Caleb, but these 3 other guys are really, really good, and nobody knows who they are. So it's going to be people are going to, who are these? That's who are these guys that are coming out of nowhere? And I think that one is going to be pretty hype as well.
It's one of those to bounce off, not to stick to the same games, but for the room, it's going to be Mega Man 5. For the viewing audience at home, it's Mega Man X by a lot.
It really is. I mean, at this point, it's kind of this, I don't want to say dynasty because there haven't been that many, but it's one of those things where it's like, who is going to be the guy to beat Caleb? That's kind of the question. Coming off of SGDQ, he sweeps X and X2, and now he's back. He's got new challengers. It's kind of this returning champion thing. Who's going to knock him off, if anybody?
Well, hold on now. I recall 2014 he lost to a guy called Sea-Wing.
That's right.
So he's not undefeated or anything.
He's on the streak right now.
But he is on the streak. He is on the streak. Give credit where credit is due, absolutely. And Caleb has been grinding X1 for anybody that's been paying attention. He's lowered his time. He's definitely going to be prepared, and these other guys don't have the marathon experience that he has, so it'll be a hype race. Because I mean, those guys are all good. Those guys are all super legit. I don't know where the times stand exactly, but I'm sure at least one or two of them is ahead of Caleb at this point.
And again, I think that's a situation where, you know, psychologically it's going to get to you. And I think this is going to be more external factors. You know, it's going to be the showmanship. It's going to be Caleb being Caleb and, you know, being really excited about his run. And, you know, I'm the kind of like the good guy, but also the bad guy. And, you know, the attention's on me. I'm the one to beat. And so if that gets to any other runners, you know, that could throw them off. But you know, we'll see who's level-headed when the race rolls around. I would also point out, I think including 7 was a really good choice, Mega Man 7.
Oh, without a doubt.
There was kind of some indecision there as to whether that was getting in or not, but Ion, very good at Mega Man 7. We'll give that run some justice, and it's a game that, again, so rarely gets an opportunity to be in big marathons. So
I'm curious about Mega Man 1.
Mega Man 1?
Actually. I'm very curious about that because Dexter kind of came out of nowhere and did his, you know, oh, this is an NES game, I'm going to get the world record thing. And then, but I mean, Cool Kid, he obviously had the record for a while, but I haven't really seen him that much in Def Games. I mean, he played Mega Man 1. Was it at SGDQ?
That's right.
Yes.
So they have, you know, I mean, they're definitely experienced, but I'm just wondering, like, this could be like a surprise game because I think everybody's just kind of expecting Dexter in this one. I mean, at least I know I am. Like, he's the king of consistency, and all his marathon runs have been exceptional. Like, he doesn't make mistakes. So it's like, how can he lose? But it's like one of those things where it's like you never know. Mm-hmm. You never know what's going to happen.
And then of course, go ahead, Spike. You got something quick.
Right, no, and on that same thing, I thought the same thing going into ESA this past year, and I'm sure Dexter's grinded it more since then, but lo and behold, at the end of the day, Cool Kid still won it. So you never know. He is the coolest kid in town.
That's right. You know, we were talking about, you know, people wanted to do their walkout song. You know, like when you walk in and get your high fives or whatever, and you know, show off. I wanted him to walk out to "Be Like the Cool Kids" or what's that song called? You know, it's on the radio. Yeah. Wish I could be like the cool kid. Yeah, that's there you go. That's an idea. Take it. Somebody run.
All right, sounds good.
You don't even have to give me credit. Just make it happen. And then I guess I kind of feel bad for Falco X3. Again, same situation as some of these other runners, where we've got a long Mega Man block coming off of a really hype Mega Man X race. Is X3, you know, is that overstaying the welcome again? Woo! You know, what's he going to have to do to keep people around after that many Mega Man games and that big race?
That is the roughest slot in the marathon. I don't care anybody's saying, oh, I got my run at 4 in the morning, or oh, you know, I had, you know, I don't know, like whatever your excuse might be. Mega Man X3, that is and I'm sure you could talk to Dragon Dark about it. That is the Metroid Zero mission of this year, having to follow up, you know, this big, whatever, you know, even if the room might not be as hype for Mega Man X, which I still think there's going to be quite a bit of hype. I feel like there's eventually going to be a release. And I almost feel like I know it's chronological order. X3 should have been put before X1. It's just X1 is the culmination of this block, and putting X3 where it is, I don't know. I feel bad for Falco. I feel like the roots is finally.
To look at it from a different perspective.
Has that ever happened before? Has that ever happened where they went out of order chronologically at a GDQ?
They should think about it.
I don't know.
I agree with you. I'm just wondering because I don't think it's happened.
No,
it's always. I almost think they wouldn't have had to go out of order if, you know, this wasn't just one continuous Mega Man block. If there was some sort of split there, if you did X and X3, then maybe you have not as much of a concern. But we'll see. And the other thing too is it transitions into awful games. So people who are wanting to wait for awful games, you know, I think.
Oh yeah, that's probably what it is, because just there's a lot of hate on X3. It's not only a transition to awful games, but it's kind of like a winding down from all of the hype from the previous Mega Man games. And you know, looking at the couch commentators, and you know, from what I've seen of That Ain't Falco, it's just going to be a really chill, you know, just enjoyable, just kind of relaxing speed run.
And on that note, actually, let's go ahead and talk about the awful games, because that's what's up next here. So leading right in from the Mega Man block, I counted it. It's not official on the schedule. They list the start of the awful games block as floating runner, but I went as far as to include Rockman X. I felt like that was a fair inclusion.
Yeah. We pronounce it as Rockman X.
There you go.
Yes. It's totally not even a Mega Man game, but it has a ripped Mega Man 1 title screen with the X put on it. You know. It's totally a broken mess, especially like you just have to see it. It's going to be a complete mess.
I have 2 questions for awful games for you guys. First of all, I want you to name an awful game you're looking forward to and give me a reason why. And then I also want you to answer, is 17 games too much, just right, not enough? Awful games. What are your
17?
thoughts on that?
I'm gonna go with totally rad because breakdown.
Because breakdown. Yeah, he's
my reason.
He's the man. So that's all you need to know.
It's hard for me because, like, honestly, because people still get salty about it. I'm gonna say Town with No Name. People get salty about Awful Block. I love just taking a moment to be like, it's okay, everyone.
It's just
let's chill, have some fun. Yeah. We're gonna raise like $25 during this 17-game stretch, but this is gonna be hilarious. It's gonna be a lot of laughs. I love the cutscenes of both Totally Rad and Town with No Name. Breakdown and Brosentia are 2 of the most entertaining guys in the biz. These are going to be a ton of fun to watch, and the cutscenes are hilarious.
All right. I guess I'll go. I'm looking at the end of the block just because I think it transitions well. We've got The Last Ninja, Used Pizza. I've been watching him do runs of this. This is just a stupid, quirky movement. Looks goofy. Like, you're just gonna, when you watch it, the game just looks awful. It just translates really well to an audience, and it's a short game. Doesn't overstay its welcome, but you do enough goofy stuff with just even trying to walk around in rooms just looks weird. And it'll be a good transition right into Shadow of the Ninja, which thankfully I'm not including in awful games. That's
that's a great game.
That's a great game. So
hell yeah.
Very much outside of right.
Did you have one that you wanted to mention there that we didn't mention?
I'm going to throw out, I don't know, I can't decide between Beethoven's Second and Tasmania. I mean, the couch on Tasmania, Jape, is going to be hilarious.
That's going to be hilarious. Also worthy of note, King Kong 2 getting the late edition. So
I just noticed that. Yeah,
there it is.
Is that the first time you're seeing that as well? Or
people have been asking. Yeah, no, he just got the record, I think, again. He improved it today, if I'm not mistaken. So King Kong 2.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of these are such short games, Golden, so I think it's fine to have 17 of them because, they're just bang, bang, bang.
They go quick, yeah. I did a lot of them 15 minutes. I'm seeing 15, 5, 10. A couple exceptions to that, but for the most part, they're kind of keeping under half an hour, so.
And you don't feel like there's any other game that, is 17 too much? Could you have had 10 of them and maybe lob 7 of them off and have some other game, maybe give a chance to, I don't know, a 3-hour game of some sort that might not. I mean, you feel like they are taking like a fair amount of chances throughout this schedule. I'm not saying something like the length of like Final Fantasy Tactics, but so we feel generally okay with this much Awful Block.
I do feel like you run into the concern at some point that maybe it loses its luster after you've had your first few laughs. I'm not an expert on the scheduling or anything. I don't claim to be, but I do wonder if after your 10th awful game, are you going to stick around for 11, 12, 13? It kind of depends on the dynamic, and I think again it's up to the runners to kind of sell their games.
Yeah, and I think they will, and I think what's happened in the past is they've used longer games, and it's kind of that's when it drags on. It's like, okay, we get how awful this game is, and we're not really getting anything else out of it for the next 20 minutes. But because these ones are so short, it's like, oh, this is funny, haha, and then it's over, and then it's like, okay, let's see what the funny thing is in this next game. So I think it'll kind of be good, good in that way.
Okay. I guess wrapping up that thought, let's go ahead and move on then and look at some of Thursday's games. It's kind of a potluck here, so I'm going to let you take your picks. And I know, Sinister One, you've got, and Duckfist, you both have an obvious say. So I put Ninja Gaiden first, but if you want to start somewhere before that, feel free. Ninja Gaiden Relay Race, what do we know about that?
Well, we know that there's going to be 2 teams of 3 players each.
Nice. A lot of people probably don't know that, honestly.
The latest word I have, the teams have not been decided upon. However, I do believe that it's going to be one team is going to be Ohone, Gus Mancini, and Infested Rich, and then the other team is going to be Dexter, Jimmy Poopins, and Crack Attack. I believe that's so probably the most well-balanced lineup, so I think that's what they're going to get.
At the very least, we know for sure who the 6 participants are going to be.
Yes,
there's no debate about who's getting
no surprises there. Yeah, so we know who's playing which games. It's just, which one is assigned to which team, and based on I hate to say it because we were talking about this earlier, but based on the personal best, that would be the most fair lineup. But I got a lot of these guys are newer. I mean, Ohone, this is his first marathon. Obviously, he's never had to play an event like this. Lucky for him, he's going to have a few races leading up to then to kind of have some race experience under his belt by the time we get to Thursday.
Right.
Dexter, he's obviously, this is old hat for him. He's got this. The two Ninja Gaiden runners haven't really done it before. Infested Rich, he's done some ESA stuff, so he's got some experience, and Crack Attacks also had some experience as well. So Ninja Gaiden 2, I think, is really the wild card. Those guys are both first timers, but and that's a very unforgiving game as well.
Also worthy of noting, this is the first time that a relay race has really been attempted at a GDQ that I can think of anyway. So it's kind of going to set the tone, I think, for the potential for future relays. What are you guys doing to handle commentary and things? Have you guys figured out, is it going to be set commentators for that? Is it going to be kind of rotating based on the game? What's the situation there?
You can go ahead.
We're gonna be commentating straight through it. I mean, all three games is all strung together. So I'm pretty confident on the commentary portion of it.
Yeah.
Will be interesting. I'll be most interested to see how we handle like the technical, game swapping. We've thrown around
I have an update on that for you, Doug.
Yeah.
I will just say it has been handled.
It has been
okay. Great.
Yeah,
they're going to stack TVs 1, 2, 3 and have all. You're going to look at the.
Can I just spoil it and say what it's going to be?
Sure.
We're gonna have two identical power packs that are going to have only Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3 on them. And all we're going to do is just, one of the team members is going to power cycle the NES and swap controllers as soon as their teammate is done, and then we'll just start the next game. So the transition time between games is going to be less than 5 seconds.
Nice.
Sounds good.
Because honestly, I think that was going to be one of the biggest things people were going to be waiting for is, what's that big, like the handoff of the baton? How exciting is that alone going to be? Imagine you got one person ready to go, one person playing the pass game, and it's the other person down there, switch off.
It's like, Nickelodeon Guts or something. Your teammate's over like 50 feet away. You got to go over and high five them. They got to go through an obstacle course to get up to the front row.
They got to find their red flag.
Don't trip over. Pizza. Yeah, that's right. Red flag in the pizza. Yeah, exactly.
So I'm feeling better about it being handled. But in any case, it'll be really cool to actually see that happen on stream and see people quickly swap, on real hardware. Otherwise, in online relay races, you don't really get to see a whole lot. There's a lot of stream delay.
Set up and ready to go. Yeah.
Right.
And to dig into that just a little bit, it's not just like, okay, this physical funny thing. It's also this showing of you've really got teams. Is that it is there is some teamwork involved almost in this. I'm rooting for, the Ohon, Gus Mancini, whatever team, and then you've got this other team. Maybe people will somehow try to find I like the blue team, I like the red team,
right.
Whatever.
It's got this like recreational softball feel to it where it's like I'm letting my team down if I don't play well, right? I gotta buy the beer or something. So anyway, another game that I feel like might get talked about on this panel here, Punch Out. You know anything about that game? Anybody? I've never heard of Punch Out. What's that?
That game is boring. We should just skip over that one.
All right. But,
no, I think actually what's more interesting. I mean, Punch Out. Yeah, I'm gonna play it. It'll be fun. But Punch Out Wii is going to be exciting. Right. Zallard is playing that. That hasn't made it into a marathon before, and he's going to put on a really good show. So I think that'll actually probably be more hype than.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping you'd touch on that because it is kind of the debut of Punch Out Wii, I guess. Aside from runners' streams themselves, I can't even think of an online marathon that's done Punch Out Wii. Has it?
Yeah, no, it really hasn't been featured, and it's a very good game too. I mean, it's just the ambiguity of the ending is really the only issue with it. If that was a little more clear cut, then it would probably have made it into marathons. And the length, I mean, the length is kind of long too as well. But I mean, as far as because everybody keeps asking about Blindfolded. Obviously, Blindfolded is not going to happen. That was retired after last year. So this is going to be a really fun run. I'm just going to tell you guys, and I'm going to say this at the marathon too. I don't care what anybody says in the audience. You guys can just cheer, laugh, shout, whatever, do whatever you want to do. It's just going to be like a free for all, basically. We're just going to have fun with it.
Have a good time, yeah.
Well,
it's the exact opposite.
It's going to be the least serious run ever.
All right.
I was going to say we need a cast of lookalikes for all the fighters and have little mock boxing matches right behind Sinister One.
You could get the Little Mac amiibo, put that out there, have just like a little boxing match. Just have like 2 people up there holding on to him. Just anyway, we've got some other races that night as well. With some pretty big ones too. Symphony of the Night, Yoshi's Island. Thoughts on these? Symphony of the Night. Anybody willing to go out on a limb and pick someone that isn't Rom Scout?
Yeah, I would have picked Epic. It looks like he might have dropped out of the race.
Oh, did he? All right.
Yeah, but no, until someone proves me wrong, I'm sticking with Rom Scout with Soten until someone proves me wrong.
There you go. I think he's the clear-cut favorite, but again, races, you never know. There's that one-shot mentality where something goes wrong and even the mighty fall. So he's proven it time and time again, though, that he's the one to beat. So
he proved it at SGDQ, where it was, we were okay. Finally, this is Rom Scout's been working nonstop. He's putting the freaking marathon together. He's putting it together again, or putting it together again this time. Is this finally going to be the time? I don't know, man. I'm not buying it.
Well, PJ is saying that Rom Scout is not going to be
interesting.
Is this
what is
could
this?
be because of the recent news about how Mike's been having a lot of trouble in Rom Scout
because he's got to step up
extra duties.
Sure.
So I think that may be part of it. I'm not. That's kind of speculation on my part.
Interesting.
But,
okay.
Okay.
Well, in that
even
case,
if he was playing,
right.
he's going to be like complaining about it to the very last minute and refusing to play.
Right. Yeah. Don't make me do it. Don't make me do it. So, well, in that case, then I mean, on the schedule, he's listed there, but we've got Benot and Dragon Blitz as well. So I guess maybe then it changes from what was a 4-player race to a 2-player race, with Epic dropping out as well. So interesting. Then I guess that kind of opens up the opportunity for some of these guys who haven't had a chance on the stage to get that chance.
Rough for the people who put money down on Rom Scout.
Yeah, that's
gotta get back to the window.
We're gonna have to make a correction there if you're side betting, if you're in Vegas. Check the books. So Yoshi's Island, Crispy and MT. Now these are guys, we had Crispy on our show a couple weeks ago. He predicted he was going to win the race, and he was bragging about the fact that I've got the best time. I mean, we might have goaded him into bragging, but regardless, he bragged, and MT showed him up and took the record from him later that week. So there's a little bit of a rivalry there.
Nice.
Let me ask this question. Usually we get 100% Yoshi's Island. Is this the right time to be doing something else? Is this the Yoshi's Island race we want?
A lot of people are going to jump at some frustration that we have had it for so many years, and double stop's coming and he's not going to do 100%. I think there comes a point where you just got to give some love to the rest of the community and show that it's not just 100%. Yoshi's Island is just a great speed game. So getting to show the other categories, I think, is a positive turn. I like that we're getting to highlight other runners that are not just 100% runners. And hey, it's Yoshi's Island. It's going to be in a lot more marathons to come.
Right.
If someone good's offering it, it's getting in. So hopefully Double Stop gets a chance in the future. But I'm glad that we're getting to see a little bit different flavor for this marathon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the first time we've had a race of Yoshi's Island, I want to say. Is it also the first time we've had a non-100% category?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yes.
I think, unless you want to count Carl's little glitch exhibition that he did at the end of 100%, was it at AGDQ? It wasn't at SGDQ.
Yeah, that was at AGDQ.
Last AGDQ, he did kind of like a little bit of a glitch exhibition. I guess I think that's the case then. So yeah, it'll be interesting. That kind of leads into a PC block again, and some very popular PC games there. We've got some Half-Life, some Portals. Any one in particular you guys want to highlight there?
I'm excited for Opposing Force. I'm a huge fan of classic Half-Life, so Opposing Force is awesome. I know Quake Guy is really good, so that'll be Quake Guy. Wait, that's Cool Kid, right?
Quake Guy.
Yeah, that is Cool Kid. They never changed.
That is Cool Kid.
He changed his ID.
Well, that's gonna be awesome. So,
all right.
I can't wait for him to play on the tiny little like 800 by 600 windowed mode.
There you go. Yeah, he's wearing the glasses, be able to see what's going on there. But No, I mean, Half-Life Portals always do really well in marathons. They get well received. I like that they're trying different things and not just running the same games. You know, we're getting aperture tag. We're getting, you know, opposing force for Half-Life. Again, I think that's a debut, right? That's
Yeah, same as Half-Life 2 Episode 2.
Episode 2.
The
I
only
wasn't sure
real
about that.
repeat here is Portal 1 and 2. I'm going to go with Setup Portal. I think Setup Portal is one of the games of the marathon. 2P 1C with Cyrano and Bubbles Del Fuego. I'm a big Portal speedrunner fan. I love watching these, and it'll be interesting to see with, you know, how fast-paced and technical a 3D puzzle platformer like that is. It'll be cool to see with 2 players dealing with that. I think that's a cool twist.
All right, I'm going to try to keep us moving here because we are at about an hour here, and I don't want us to run like super late into the evening and keep you guys here for hours rambling. So
my plane leaves in 11
hours.
Right,
you got to get on a flight soon. So let's go ahead and move on then. We've got the Graveyard PlayStation block, which we've again kind of talked about a few times. Early Morning Friday, we've got Spyro, Crash 2, Jack 2. Kind of getting a rough slot there as far as being all early in the morning, all PlayStation franchises. But these games specifically, what do you think about either their time slot or just them being in there?
Well, they're great games. Crash Bandicoot 2 and 3 are 2 of, I think, the great PlayStation 1 speed games in general. The movement tech in them is great. It's good length. Spyro the Dragon, I'm not personally as much into as the series, but again, just, you know, it's movement all day. It's kind of your Banjo-Kazooie of PlayStation 1 with all the collectathoning and everything. It just kind of goes to show, if you look later on in this day, which I won't get into. Yeah. We'll get there, but looking at what's there and how this is, you know, along with the hype as hell Genesis block at the beginning of the marathon, they still have to weigh these Sony and these Sega franchises in the graveyard shifts. I've said again, you know, I won't go into it, but I think they're unjustly put here. I thought we could have seen them in a couple of the other, even like maybe not prime time, but early afternoon slots. But still, the runners are good, and you know, they'll be solid runs.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you to some extent. I think that at least with Crash and Spyro kind of come to mind when I think of, you know, iconic Sony franchises that people kind of have nostalgia for. I don't know so much about Jack having as big of a following. I mean, obviously being a more recent game series, but I would maybe question if you wanted to put a Jack game in prime time. And we've seen that before with it actually kind of being the kickoff game, the Kickstarter game, as I'm now apparently using. We've seen that lead a marathon before, that franchise. So yeah, I don't know. I think a little unfair to Spyro and Crash, regardless, again, kind of getting a PlayStation block. At the very least, getting to see one game from each of these franchises included. Not something that we necessarily might see every time. So, and it's not Jack 1, which I think is worth pointing out. Usually,
sure,
it seems like Jack and Daxter 1 tends to get the attention. So, any other thoughts on early morning PlayStation, or we can move right into its counter? the counter to the early morning PlayStation. On Friday, it's kind of a bring your A game, Nintendo Friday. We've got just the onslaught here: Pokemon, Metroid, Zelda, Mario. What are we looking at here? There's a lot to talk about there, but
gosh, yeah, I mean, again, kind of bouncing off what I just said. Yeah, you're looking at here's where Nintendo goes, and here's where Sony and Sega go. Yeah, just absolute onslaught. I'll let someone else take these if they want to, because there's a lot to talk about here.
I'm just going to go ahead and shout out the Mario RPG run by Checkers is going to be amazing. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, that's big time.
That's gonna be totally awesome. And the Link to the Past, All Dungeons No EG is an awesome category. That is absolutely hilarious and cool to watch. So I can't wait to see both of those.
And worth pointing out too, Mario RPG finally not getting the
great
slot. Yeah, it's right there in prime time. Yeah. So I guess it's a little early in the afternoon for a West Coast, but yeah, 5 Eastern there. That's good. And yeah, some good variety here, despite being popular franchises. Again, you're getting your dose of Pokemon this time around. I guess that's kind of one thing that we noted is that
that's a good word.
It does kind of feel like there's not a lot of Pokemon this time around, but at the same time, we've seen some of these familiar styles of Pokemon runs. So getting a little bit of a different flavor here with the red-blue shenanigans that we're going to be seeing. Yeah, I think it's the right amount of Pokemon here for this marathon. It's going to give some other series a chance. And Worcester always does a good job with presentation, so that shouldn't be a problem. Metroid Prime Mile is always a good one. Minish Cap getting a chance this time around. I think this is a debut as well, if I'm not mistaken. It might be a second time.
Oh yeah,
run an SGDQ like 2012.
It's been a while.
11. Yeah, it was the first SGDQ 2000 or SGDQ that we all went to. Yeah, it was not as well received, to say the least. So I think a lot of people are going to be happy to see it's finally going to get maybe a more fair shake this time. Which you could probably say, honestly, about a lot of games these days, just how everything's been grinded out. But, yeah, definitely cool to see Minish Cap return, and in a pretty solid time slot, honestly. And this was definitely a game I thought could have been tucked away, maybe in a graveyard shift. They could have done it, but, yeah.
Getting a Majora's Mask run there as well, and then Sunshine kind of wraps up the day with a full run, too. The 3-hour estimate, I'm assuming that's 100%. Not knowing my Sunshine categories very well. That's got to be 100%.
120 shines, yeah.
Getting kind of the opposite of what we usually get with Sunshine, which is, again, more of like an any percent style run. So that wrapping up Friday, I guess we'll move into our Saturday speed round. And then speed round, I'm going to emphasize that. I'm going to go quick here. So if you guys have thoughts on these, chime in quickly. Wow, we really had the Nintendo onslaught. I put it in there twice. There we go. Saturday speed round. I was bound to make a mistake somewhere on the new layout, but let's just kind of go quickly here and thoughts. Spike Vegeta, Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 Bid War. What wins? What do you think?
Kingdom Hearts 2 is going to win. It's going to be one of the best speed games of the marathon. I know people are turned off by the length, but it's going to be great.
It's going to be great. All right, Vanquish, half coordinated. Are we excited for this run? It's getting that Minecraft slot there. What are your thoughts?
Definitely. I mean, half coordinated. That's going to be a total pleasure to see him do this. I mean, it's also just an amazing speed game to watch as well. I think we had it at AGDQ 2013. I want to say. Actually, has it been there a couple of times?
I'm trying to think.
I know he's offered it multiple times. I thought this was like
he's been waiting.
It's first time to get in. Maybe I'm not sure.
And you can see just from the chat reaction, people are excited about Vanquish. So yeah, very cool to see that. Metal Gear Rising. This is one that's interesting to me. What do you guys think about Metal Gear Rising on Saturday?
15 minutes.
It is.
It is a random tucked away slot. It feels like this feels like it got in because Mike likes Metal Gear Rising. That's just me. I don't know.
I mean, it is. I mean, Friday to Saturday, it does kind of feel like you're getting hit with nonstop, triple A, big, marquee franchises. And then, Metal Gear Rising kind of stands out as, I don't know. I mean, it is a short run, and it does kind of play along well with Vanquish, I think. So,
sure.
I'm not questioning its inclusion in the marathon, but it does kind of feel like it's maybe in the wrong time slot as far as compared to some of these other ones. GoldenEye, we've got the 4-way race. Is that just as hype, and if not even more intense than the Super Metroid race?
Everybody loves GoldenEye. Everybody loves GoldenEye. Come on.
Oh yeah, totally. This is like the elite shout out block pretty much. Yeah, it'll be awesome to see a race on GoldenEye for sure. And I'm a huge fan of Perfect Dark. That'll be amazing to see as well.
Perfect Dark, the follow-up there, I think that's a good choice. And again, it's a title that a lot of people recognize, have nostalgia for, and an obvious inclusion, I think, and an interesting inclusion on Saturday, I would add. It doesn't strike me as a Saturday game, but seeing it on there, I think that it's the obvious follow-up to GoldenEye at the very least. So. Good to see both games getting representation there. Halo 2, we got a co-op run there. Too soon for Halo? Or are we still excited for Halo? What's the situation there? Anybody?
A little odd to see Halo 2 make a repeat already, considering there was stuff like Halo 4 offered. I guess there was maybe a need for co-op, which people do admittingly get a little more hype for. I know Monopoly's got a lot of viewers. My biggest question for GoldenEye, Halo 2, this little first-person shooter type block, is this was one of the most well-received blocks of SGDQ. Why are we seeing it tucked away in the early morning hours of AGDQ? I find that interesting. See if it will still succeed in this time slot.
All right. Dark Souls 2, again, obvious inclusion this time around. I think that it's an obvious marathon fit. Is 10 a.m. too early? Dark Souls 2 getting shafted here?
It's one of the most popular. Like if you look on SRL, usually 2 or 3 of the top 10 streams are always Dark Souls streams. So it's one of those that probably when you look within the speedrunning community, we wouldn't really bring up Dark Souls, but people watch it, people like it, people love it, and it's at 10 a.m. So maybe it. And I know after a while you run out of good slots. So I don't hate the 10 a.m. slot for it. I think people will definitely be around. But yeah, maybe a little odd.
I think that's fine. Yeah, I think 10 a.m. is probably fine. Maybe on the little early side, but like what you kind of touched on a bit. I mean, look at the remaining games in the schedule.
Right.
Where else are you going to put it?
Exactly.
I agree with you completely there. I mean, we've got Final Fantasy VII right after that. Interesting, Final Fantasy not being the conclusion of the marathon this time around. Still making its way on a Saturday. Puexel running it. Good commentary to be had there. Any quick thoughts on FF7? This is the wrong warp run, right?
Yeah, this is the PC glitch. It'll be cool because we haven't had a really broken RPG. I guess other than like the Final
64
Fantasy
floor,
the 64 floor glitch. So what's cool about this is it'll just be Final Fantasy VII for like 2 hours and then it just explodes.
Right, it's going to be FF7, but not the way you remember it, which I think that's what's going to be exciting about it. It's not just the typical remember all the cutscenes and kind of the traditional Final Fantasy run in the sense that what we would expect happens.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw this out there. This is going to be one of the underlying big time memories people are gonna have of AGDQ 2015 because we forget because we're desensitized. We're within the speedrunning community. We see this crap all the time. Watching Aerith in the final boss battle done legitimately by Puexel is going to be a moment that people who only tune in to watch the RPGs, that's a memory that they're going to have for a long time.
That's very true. We've got kind of the back-to-back, I don't know, wombo combo, Runner Guy, ZFG, Ocarina of Time to wrap things up. Thoughts on the finale, the OOT.
Did you just skip Super Metroid?
I'm about to say you.
I scrolled down and I forgot Super Metroid. Shame on me. I quit the show. I'm done. I'm out. You guys do the show.
Did you play Super Metroid at some point?
I mean, it's a pretty bad speed game. Let's admit.
I'm back. I was going too fast. I apologize. Super Metroid, 100% race. Epic and sweet num. We have not seen 100%.
We have not of it. No.
Yeah.
We certainly have. Well, wait a second. No. Wait.
We've seen 100%. We have not seen a 100% race, have we? Has it been a while? No, I think we never.
Was there one at SGDQ?
Was that Desi and somebody?
No. That was just Desi by himself. That was Desi playing like this ROM hacked version of it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think the thing here is that Epic and Sweet Num are not very well known to like in general. I mean, obviously, if you know about Super Metroid, you know who they are, but neither of them have run the game in a marathon before. So people usually you're expecting where's Zost or somebody like that, but these guys are top tier, so they're gonna let it up. And
it parallels the MMX race, I think, to some extent. Obviously, Mega Man X has Caleb, but you've got these other names that aren't as familiar that are still really good at the game, that are going to get their kind of first chance to remind people, and you're going to get the Deer Force. So, Killer Save the Animals, what's happening? Kill save.
Spike.
Ooh, okay. This is the year it's gonna fly a little under the radar, but Save's gonna win this year.
Save's gonna win this year.
You're gonna see the pendulum. It's right.
We're
not to get
We're
political.
both off the show.
It's the Democratic Republican pendulum that goes back and forth every 4 years. People are gonna fight for it. Right here. All right. Save's gonna eke it out. It's gonna happen.
Mr. 1, kill save.
You gotta kill him.
Gotta kill the animals. All right, good answer, Duckfist. I'm not biased at all on this one. Duckfist, kill or save the animals?
Kill them animals.
All right, good answer. You guys get to come back.
Spike it's a speed run, folks.
All right, so there we go. Now we'll go back to where I was. After Super Metroid, the ZFG Runner Guy, Ocarina of Time, complete showcase of every facet of the game. What do you guys think? Is it the right finale? Is it going to be a bang?
Oh yeah. Oh no, this is This is an absolute. I mean, we can all jump in on this, but yeah, I think this is an absolute slam dunk. I'm happy for Final Fantasy VII that it's still going to get a great slot, and I'm glad that it's not going to be pressured like this. I think this is definitely a game that, whether there are going to be a lot of people that don't like Ocarina of Time in the community either, but they're trying something different. It's ZFG, who's definitely a runner with his popularity and his hard work in this category. It's unbelievable the kind of time he's pushed this category to. Getting to showcase this game and what the Ocarina of Time community has put into the game for the last 15 years since its release is going to be a beautiful showcase. It really is. And I think a beautiful showcase of what speedrunning is, I think, in a lot of ways for people that might not know it.
Yeah. Any other thoughts, guys? Sinister One?
I think it's a fine choice. I mean, it's definitely up there in terms of popularity. It's a quality game. It's it's the category, and ZFG, the run is. I mean, everything that Spike said is true. So and it's nice to see them switch up every now and then and not do the Final Fantasy as the finale, which I think they did. There was another Zelda game they did as a finale one
Twilight
time.
Princess.
Twilight Princess. Okay, yeah. So I mean, switch it up every now and then. It's nothing wrong with a little variety.
Yeah, I mean, my only question about this is it going to be too much at once if they really are going to do, blindfolded into the 100%? Is that going to kind of overwhelm people where, okay, we've seen, especially I think like an example that comes to mind is Super Metroid at SGDQ, where you go from, the standard categories into the glitched categories into, okay, here's another glitched run, and I'm not done yet, here's another glitched run. You're like, or Link to the Past did the same thing at SGDQ. Yeah. Where it was, okay, now I'm going to, use EG. Now I'm going to not use EG. And it just kind of, the question is, how many times can you recycle the content and keep it interesting? I'm not saying that they both shouldn't be there. I'm just wondering, maybe would it have been a better move to move blindfolded to a different day and just kind of have some separation there? Or does it make sense to just kind of, okay, if you're going to watch Ocarina of Time, you're going to watch them both?
I think people are just going so crazy by the time of the finale that they're just going to be into it regardless. I mean, I do get what you're saying, that it is a little bit of overload, but people are just so intense right then anyway that they're probably not going to care.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's Runner Guy and ZFG. They'll knock it out of the park. So
there's going to be a natural
games you can actually do this with. I mean, there's not too many other games that'll really be suitably done category to category back to back. So I think it'll work out pretty well.
There's going to be a natural exhale. You can't keep that from happening. Going from just because people be like, "Oh my God, he beat the game when there was a pillow sheet over his head the entire time." That's crazy. Or a pillowcase over his head the entire time.
You're gonna get the people who are theorizing and speculating about it. Like, could he actually see through the
Sure. But then ZFG is going to settle in, and
he had a TV screen inside the pillowcase. Go ahead.
Right. Then that would be the storyline of the marathon right there. No, but then ZFG is going to settle in. He's going to come in and show, listen, this is really what this game is. This is the work we've put in for 15 years now. There's not a down moment in that entire run. And, going back to what I was saying, like, it is, I think, a better showcase that a lot of people complained about of, what really the speedrunning community is. And it's, optimizing these games to the fullest extent and breaking them to the fullest extent. Right. And the fact that you get to showcase this entire game while also breaking it for 5 hours is insane.
And it does feel like it's just kind of like a Wikipedia update almost, where it's just like, here's all this tech that we want to showcase and haven't had a chance to on this kind of stage. And the game has evolved so much from, I want to say, what was the last time 100% Ocarina of Time was done?
Runner Guy 2013.
Right, so it's been 2 years.
Which is a lot in Zelda.
Right, yeah, which doesn't feel like a lot, but Zelda games, you give them a month and it's a whole new game, so... On that note, we made it all the way through the schedule, but we have a few more questions. So I want to ask you guys, what is the one game that we didn't talk about? Or if you have one that maybe we didn't get a chance to touch on, give us one game to watch and why. And just go ahead and jump in whenever you feel like you've got one. I know we kind of jumped over the NES block early on in the week. We kind of touched a little bit on Contra, but not some of the other games there.
I don't think we did pass over this huge PC block. We didn't really mention Battle Block Theater with PJ and Mecha Richter. I think that'll be really sick.
Yeah,
that'll be a lot of fun to watch. I can't wait for that.
That's a very busted game too.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. I mean, I guess we kind of did touch a little bit on the Mario block But I guess I'm also curious to see some of these other runs that we don't get to see that often. Just what the status is on some of these. What's lost levels looking like now. The last lost levels run I can remember that I paid any attention to was TJP's.
Yeah, all-star
lost levels. So just kind of checking in with some of these games that are kind of familiar, but maybe not as notable. The Keen series, another one that comes to mind, where it shows up every now and then in speedrunning, but getting kind of 4, 5, 6 back to back to back. I'm interested to see those runs as well.
I'm gonna go with Cypher and Blecky racing each other in Goof Troop rather than co-oping
No
like
longer
they did the
co-op.
last time. Now they're enemies. They're going at each other.
Truly the greatest rivalry of the marathon.
Yes, and they're great friends. Like, these guys are really close, and they have a lot of fun, and they've co-op multiple games at Marathon, so it's going to be really interesting to see them racing. I'm sure they're going to have some special surprises planned and some fun stuff that they're going to do that people aren't expecting. So that will be a very fun run.
Spike, did you get one in there?
Yeah, so I was actually going to say Goof Troop, but I'll go to my second choice.
There you go.
That's why this guy isn't on the show anymore. Anyway,
Stole all your answers.
So yeah, the other one I'm going to throw out there, and it's going to sound like I'm just being biased, but Rayman Legends, and the reason why I'm bringing it up is not because I'm also a runner of the game, is because I really, really love this idea of doing IL challenges, IL type stuff at these GDQs. I think we made it for way too long that, oh no, it needs to be full RTAs. That's all it needs to be, or else the game can't be in there. And I disagree with that, especially considering we're starting to the point where there's so many games you want to fit in. Maybe there's, let's say we wanted to offer, I don't know, like a modern game, I'm in something like Tropical Freeze. Like, yeah, an 80% category takes an hour and a half. Or I can take like 30 minutes of your time and show you like 10 of the sickest ILs that may or may not be in an any percent route, 100% route, whatever it might be. The fact that they're trying that with Rayman Legends, and they're putting it at like a really solid time slot of like 2:20 p.m. Eastern. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the fact that my boy Kane Apache is getting that time slot and gets to showcase it, because that game has unbelievable movement tech to it. So I hope people are going to show up to watch that. It's a good time slot, and make sure you're there.
All right. And on that note, we're going to move to predictions. Just a few quick questions for you guys. I want some numbers here. Get them on the record. Give me the total money raised. Give me the peak viewer count. And give me the run of the marathon. What's the run that everyone's going to be talking about? We can all be wrong together. It'll be great.
I'm gonna go with 1.2 million.
1.2 million.
Peak viewer count of 125,000, and
okay, esports. Okay.
The run of the marathon is gonna be Tetris.
Tetris. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
I think that's a good pick. I honestly think it is. Duckfist.
Oh man, I'm still thinking about the run of the marathon, but I'm gonna go with 1.5 million viewer peak, 150K.
Wow.
Wait. I think you got that back. 1.5 million.
No. Yeah, he $1.5 million.
Okay. Just making sure.
150K peak viewer count, and oh man, the run of the marathon. I'm just gonna go with Super Mario RPG. I'm just gonna go with Super Mario RPG.
I think that's a good answer.
It's just
as
so
well.
good.
Checkers really been pouring time into that game too. Spike.
I'm going to challenge all the viewers out there. We got 300 of them here. There'll be a lot more than that. I predict more than that. To prove me wrong this time. 2 years ago, I was known as the Optimist. I said $450,000. I think we will struggle to get to $1 million. I think we'll get there. But I'm right there with Sinister. I'm right there in that 1.2 million range. I'm feeling like the viewer peak is maybe about 105,000. I don't think you have that wham bam, that Cosmo Wright doing Wind Waker. You don't have that Minecraft. I don't see the individual game that's going to bring in that high of a viewer count above what everything else is. We'll stay at around 70, 80,000 the whole time. We'll end up at 105 as the peak.
Right.
And run of the marathon, I'm going to stick with what I said earlier, back to back. Super Castlevania 4, Donkey Kong Country 2. That's the hypest the room's going to be. That's the most we're going to be able to get the audience into it.
I'm going to challenge the viewers as well, but I'm going to be more pessimistic about it so that they actually work towards proving me wrong. Okay.
There you go.
So I'm going to say that the reason we hit 1 million last AGDQ is because there was this sense, just this idea that we were close enough that we were going to hit it. and it just kind of propelled people in a situation where I feel like they otherwise wouldn't have come close. Like there was no really reason to just suddenly get behind it, except for the fact that, hey, we're really close, we're gonna hit 1 million. So I'm gonna say under 900,000.
Woo!
But you got to prove me wrong.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to prove me wrong so that I look like an idiot. And you know, I'm just motivating you. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that the peak viewer count is just over 100,000. It's gonna happen during that whole DKC2, Castlevania, all of that. And my run of the marathon is King Kong 2 because it got in. So there we go.
Good choice. Best pick.
On that note, we've got a little bit of a sneak peek here, not an in-depth one by any means, but some prize previews here, just to tell you some of the prizes you might be able to win if you donate during AGDQ this year. So if you've never watched a GDQ before, maybe this is your primer on the GDQs. In addition to just donating, obviously, for Prevent Cancer Foundation, when you donate, you are entered to win prizes if you do so during certain blocks, and if you donate a certain amount of money. And then, in addition, you also can choose incentives to put your money towards. You can say, you know, I want this game to be played instead of that one. For example, Fire Emblem is a bid war. So when you donate, you could say, well, put my money towards Path of Radiance. And in addition to being entered for the prizes automatically, you have a chance to win or influence how the marathon plays out as well. So we got some prize previews here. I took this one here. This one was Romscott posted it earlier. We've got the custom NES Mega Man themed there. We got Mega Man on the box, and then the controllers have some Mega Man designs. The Robot Master's on one of them.
That is so cool looking.
It's pretty sick.
There's another one, actually. I didn't snag the picture of it, but there's a Genesis that's got kind of a Sonic the Hedgehog flavor to it as well. So that's pretty cool. Another picture here. Looks like we've got, these are the Perlers that Mecha Richter donated. We've got quite a few of them, actually. Wheelie Riders in there, Kirby Superstar. Lots of different Kirby, actually. I think we see some... what do we got there? Rystar, yeah.
Magical Poppin', yeah. Some good Genesis stuff right there.
Lots of them in there. So
Brothers are a staple as far as prices go. So I'm glad these guys step up and make some really high quality stuff. I mean, they're always really cool looking. So
I'm loving that Mole Knight right there in the middle. That on fire Berserk phase Mole Knight's pretty sick.
Yeah,
very expressive. Yeah, he always picks the perfect frame too. You know, it's just pick the face being animated or just something non-standard too. You know, how many people think to make a Wheelie Rider Perler? So yeah, I like it. And then you know, obviously not at all inclusive. There's plenty more prizes out there. Do we know what the grand prize is? Does anybody know off the top of their head what the grand prize is? It's usually a console, isn't it? It's like a Wii U or something.
Not sure.
I don't know.
It doesn't say.
All right, somebody in chat's gonna find it for us. But usually it's a console, I want to say, and then they include, you know, some late. It's probably gonna be like if I had to guess, it'd be like a Wii U bundle or something. But in any case, just so you guys are aware that you have plenty of opportunities to win some prizes throughout the marathon. So you know, donate regardless of when that is. Make sure to donate for the good cause, and then also potentially to win some cool stuff yourself. On that note, let's go to Q&A with the chat, though, and give you guys an opportunity to maybe ask us some of the questions we didn't get to. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about with AGDQ. We're all excited. We're leaving. I guess some of us leaving tomorrow. What's the...
Yeah.
Gonna get a few hours of sleep and get off. It'll be great. Yeah. When are you leaving tomorrow?
I leave tomorrow night, actually. I leave about 5 o'clock, so I'll be getting in around 9. But yeah, thanks for reminding me though. I need to figure out what I'm doing for sleeping tomorrow night. So we'll make it happen.
I can't believe you don't know where you're sleeping.
Well, you see, I don't want to go into details, but let's just say that plans fell through. So.
Oh.
Yeah. No, it's all good. We'll work it out. I'm not too worried. So, what about you guys? It's a Spike. You're leaving tomorrow.
Early morning.
When are we going to be seeing the rest of you guys here, Sinister One? How long
I will be there either Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. I haven't decided yet. A little late, but better late.
I got to go back to. Oh, what's up? No. I got to go back to work for one day, and then I'm flying out on Saturday morning. I'll be there probably early afternoon.
Sounds good. We got some questions already. I'm apparently available for one night only. There we go. That's the advertisement right there. Let's see. What do you think of the Twitch chat during AGDQ? Does it need fixing?
Oh God.
What?
Why? Do we want to go there?
Seriously?
Can it be fixed? No.
I mean, here's the thing. Anytime you get a bunch of people in the Twitch chat, it's going to, it's going to be garbage. That's just the way it is. I recommend you click the little sidebar that hides it, and you full screen and watch the marathon and enjoy. But that's just me.
Yeah.
So.
We say it all the time, but it is what it is. And Mike Uyama he has the same philosophy. Just, let Twitch chat do its thing, and we're gonna worry about the rest of the marathon. We can't control that. So,
all right. What do you think the bonus games will be? I really hope Sonic Boom gets in. Please. It's so ripe. It has to happen. Now is the time.
I don't know really. I don't really know much about the bonus games.
Yeah, I'm not.
I guess they're
just saying, assuming they're
now.
ahead of schedule.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think the bonus games are just everything that are supposed to be that they've kind of got marked down inside of those setup blocks. The Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes, Pokemon Green, Blindfolded Child Dungeons, stuff like that. In terms of other stuff getting in, I mean, again, we've heard bonus stream will not be speedrunning content, which I still agree with on that decision. So,
will Dram versus Sinister Push-Ups challenge be on stream for donation dollars?
There is a real big.
Let me clarify a few things here. First, number one, there's many more participants besides just me and Dram. Caleb Hart obviously will be participating. Trihex will be participating, and I'm sure many other people will participate. So I kind of doubt that it's going to be a thing that they do on stream. It'll probably be off stream. But that being said, somebody's going to upload it to YouTube, so you'll get to see me lose to those young strapping gentlemen in push-up race. You will get to see it. Yes.
Sounds good. Let's see.
I will be eating wings.
You'll be
eating wings. There you go. I hope you have fun.
I'm just looking through here to see if that chats. I'm discovering when we do this layout change here that I don't get the same abilities that I had before, so I got to scroll back up as chat scrolls off the screen. Let's see. Are you excited about having a run like Animal Crossing in the marathon, and do you think other slower paced or non-typical runs can get in the future?
What? Animal Crossing?
I'm not sure if that's okay. So I guess you're just saying, like, does the game necessarily have to be visually fast, or I don't know. Like, I guess the only example I can think of it is like Sim City was the classic. Like, nothing's really happening on screen, but this run is amazing. Like, it's all in the presentation style, I think, especially if there's not a lot happening on the screen. But if you haven't had a chance to watch the mayor deliver his SimCity and Maniac Mansion combo speedrun, you got to go look that up. SGDQ 2013?
2012, yeah.
Yeah, 13
Top 10 marathon run of all time. Top 10.
That was amazing.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
There you go. That's how you do a run where the game itself is in need of some assistance, maybe. I think, let's see, did we pretty much cover which run will have the best commentary? That's interesting.
Wow.
That's tough.
Hopefully one of the four-way races will just have great commentary. Man.
I can't pick my own shit.
Yeah. You could. You're more than welcome to.
I don't know.
Man, I'm trying to look through here. I'm going to pull for Super Castlevania 4 being like really rock solid, because as good as well respected as that is in the community, it might be a lot of people kind of viewing it as, we need some help here. This looks like a slower paced Castlevania game. Why are we so hype about it being the four-way race? But I think with good commentary, I think that game will succeed. So I'm not going to say that's going to be the best commentary, but I think that should do its best to be the best commentary.
All right, I got a good pick for this one. I'm going to go with Sparkster. We have Clear Tonic playing it, who's really good at commentating, like just in general, and while he's playing, he's also a really good runner. But we also have Blecky and Butters BB, providing couch commentary, and that's just going to be, you know, a sea of amazing sounding voices, you know, talking about
yeah, if you ever want to just, you know, put on closed ear headphones and enjoy, and, you know, make everybody wonder why you're smiling, that's some good voices right there. Yeah, I mean, obviously Ocarina of Time, that's, you know, in order for it to be in the slot that it is, it's got to have just kind of the knockout punch, and I think the commentary is kind of the icing on the cake. You know, that run itself is going to speak for itself, but just getting to hear the history of tricks being discovered, and undoubtedly we'll, you know, be hearing tricks described faster than they actually are executed, or maybe slower than they're executed in that game, but it's just going to be end-to-end explanations, and really just a treat for Zelda fans to hear all that. But yeah, I think we've covered most of the questions that you guys had there. So most of the good questions, anyway. How about that? We'll say that. Yeah. On that note, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Or we're going to be here all night. We got some planes to catch here. Let's get this. What is this? What is this segment doing on the show? Didn't we get rid of this? Are we retiring the speech eventually? Like, does this have to happen? I don't know.
Yeah,
just want an excuse to say
rid of it by now.
Some things could have been left in 2014, but we, you know, some things stick around. All right. Well, does anybody have anything particular they want to speech up here, or am I going to do one of my usual improv speeches?
Oh, is that the new thing now?
I don't know. I mean, can't get rid of the segment, guys. It's written in the rules.
This is probably where something needs to be prepared.
All right. Yeah, okay. Well, how about this? I'm upset because I wasn't the one that got to give the speech on New Year's. Okay. Yeah, one of my other friends gave the speech, and it was all inspirational and generally made me feel good about myself. So I'm going to give the speech to you and say that you should watch AGDQ. And you know, whether or not you're at the event, if you enjoy video games and you enjoy the element of surprise and wonder, I encourage you to watch Awesome Games Done Quick, and I encourage you to share it with your friends who don't know about it, because you are a lucky soul that knows about it before day one. You're not one of those day 5 discoverers. And so you're going to get to see the whole thing, but maybe your friends won't. So spread the news. Awesome Games Done Quick 2015. That's it. I got nothing. Cheers to a new year.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Okay.
That should lead into. They should just take that one voice clip and put that going into HDQ 2015. There it is right there.
I'm excited. I'm pumped. I can't wait to see everybody again. Oh, okay. Let's do it. I'm ready.
Yay.
All right. On that note, guys, that's it. That's our show for now. And I guess we are gonna. I'm putting it down right now as that we won't do a show the week that we get back. But I don't know for sure yet. I'm just saying for now we're gonna assume that our next show is gonna be on the 22nd. So please watch AGDQ this week and come back and join us on the 22nd for another show, which I'm sure will have lots of stories for all of you, and just a recap and all of that. So thanks again for watching, everybody. Do we have a raid target in mind? Do you want to?
Give me a second. Just talk.
This is one of the highest viewer counts we've had in recent memory. So thanks everybody for watching.
It's all the sexiness that is our guests.
That's right. It's all thanks to Sinister One returning, Duckfist representing as well.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. I can't wait to see you all at AGDQ, and that goes for everybody out there in chat and watching all that good stuff. It's gonna be amazing.
Dude, Garrison's playing Super Metroid.
Oh.
In before you put that fan tune. Come on.
Okay. Well, there you go.
All right.
You might have found the one.
Is that it?
Does he want this? That's what I'm gonna say.
Oh, okay.
He's gonna quit at fan tune anyway. Just do it.
All right, we're doing it.
Oh, they're pointing out that I got 2014s in there instead of 2015s on our next show. So we're going back in time. We're gonna go relive 2014 for our next show.
Nice.
First mistake of the year. All right, we made it almost 24 hours without making a mistake. So, all right, there's the raid. Right somewhere we got a raid somewhere. Somebody.
Oh, but are we going with Gary? Are we going with Gary?
I don't care.
We could do somebody else.
You can people are saying Joe, right?
Joe. Yeah. Okay, I was also looking at Joe. Maybe.
All right, let's do Joe. Let's do Joe.
Joe is.
I got caught up.
I'm just thinking.
Nostalgia.
I'm still
get in there with that 2014 hype. You know, it hasn't left us. And yeah, thanks again, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time. And remember that your run is not over until you hit Sinister 1.
The final split.
Thank you very much. We'll see you guys.